Hi, my name is Ryan Petrillo. I'm with the cake shop owners here. This is Miss Linda Richards and her daughter Megan. Now, you guys have been in operation for about 21 years, correct?
I've owned the cake shop for 21 years.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes, yes. And so we're just going to be doing an interview regarding your family business and how you got started and addressing questions like that.
Okay.
So the first thing, just what inspired you, like in your life, to run this cake shop, to start it up? What was that? Were there any events in your life that decided, okay, this is something that I want to do?
Yes, I was trained in culinary school. I've always loved to bake. That's always been my passion. But I also had passion for dance, and I was a dance teacher here in town for many years. It just came to a point where I was offered to buy the cake shop, which was already in existence prior to my owning it. I worked there for a year, and the person that owned it sold it to me. So it was already in existence for 35 years. I was a pastry chef here in town. I also taught dance. And I took the opportunity to really examine, do I want to be an owner? Do I want to put that much time into a business and have, two young children? At the time, Jessica was in grade school and Megan was in middle school. So I had to really address, because it was very important to me to be a great mother and be very involved in their lives. And so I had to ask myself, do I want to take on this challenge? And so I sat them down at the kitchen table and said, if I take this challenge, then I can no longer go on field trips. I cannot be in charge of all of your classroom parties, the PTA. I mean, all of the involvement in school was going to really be curtailed. And they wanted me to. They loved it there. And so, of course, you have to address the finances. How are you going to purchase that? That's one of the questions. We'll get onto that. But I really wanted to do it. It was much smaller then. It was just a cake shop. It had, no cookies. They didn't sell cookies, cupcakes, muffins, anything but cake.
It was woman that storefront.
No, it was just a little shop, mom and pop. And that's all she did was cake. And I worked for her 2 days a week. Well, I was actually a student at FSU. So
that's great. And did when they were going about hiring you or offering it to you, was it your prior work experience there for the year that kind of sold?
Yeah, I'd been in, like I said, I was a pastry chef for a local restaurant here in town, and working there, I saw that it was a very successful business. The phone rang off the hook, the product was superior, the customers were repeat customers, so it had a very loyal following. It was a very good product, so it wasn't as though it was an unknown entity. I knew what I was getting into. I knew how good it was, and I knew what I could add to the already existing business. So I could bring in my own, product, my own, for lack of a better word, my own brilliance, and add to it cookies and a coffee shop and, more product than what was in existence. So it was a turnkey operation. I bought something that already had existed for 32 years. So,
well, a well-established business and a great presence.
It was. And so it had already been established in Tallahassee. It was like the premier place to get a cake. Everyone talked about it in high regard. So I wasn't at all skeptical about the product or about the bakery itself. It was really a matter of finances. How are you going to go to do this, and how are you going to raise your children with the quality and the input that you have now? So that was my biggest dilemma, was how was I going to balance being a mother and being a business owner? Because that was very important to me, to be very involved in their lives. So.
And how did you obtain that finance capital?
I borrowed money against my own retirement account. The sum of money I borrowed against my retirement account. The interest on that was lower than a bank, and I had done the research on the bank interest rate. And it was, at that time, it was like 5.5%, and banks were hovering around 10%. And so that was not a no-brainer there. And I borrowed the money for 5 years to give myself a bit of a cushion, not to be afraid of that payment, but I paid it off in 2 years. I wanted it done.
That's great. That's great.
So that's what I did.
That's awesome. And understanding like the market in Tallahassee, there's a lot of food restaurants available. There's a lot of coffee shops as well. How do you go about creating your niche in the market, or creating a competitive advantage over your competitors?
I believe in maintaining quality.
Mm.
I don't get really involved in what everybody else is doing. I really concentrate on what I'm doing.
Mm.
And what I'm doing has to be quality,
Mm.
and it has to be great product.
Mm.
Now Megan is much more concerned with what other people are doing. That's her job.
Right, that's awesome.
I think that's
So
part of
she
the age.
keeps up with that, you know, what's going on Facebook and Twitter and what other people are doing, and she's brilliant at that. She's very savvy with all that part of the company, and I am just focused on being driven on doing the best, having quality,
Mm.
being consistent,
Mm.
and that's my brilliance. And Megan does hers, and I think that makes us a good team.
Right, yes. And so is there a specific, in regards to like your all's customers, is there a specific quality or general characteristic to your loyal customers, or is there a certain target client, if you will, that comes around regularly?
Oh yeah, we have third generation people.
Mm.
I've been making a young man's cake who's in his 30s. He's like, what, 37? Every year of his entire life has come from the cake
Wow.
shop.
It's
And-
longevity.
Yeah.
Excuse my interruption,
Yeah.
but I think that's the key.
Mm.
I think a lot of places nowadays are get in, get your business quick, do some things for a couple of years, and it just kind of fizzles. Where the cake shop, like Linda pointed out, was established and had a core, and now that core has followed. And now you're talking about grandchildren. Grandparents had their wedding cake, and now the children's children. Now we're doing first birthdays, and it just. And then with things like social media, with Facebook and all this stuff, that the word is just grows.
Mm.
People say, you go to a restaurant, just like last night, I was at Masa. Here comes the cake shop cake.
Mm.
Like it just makes you feel good.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's what Tallahassee is. Tallahassee is small enough where those things are important, but it's big enough where we can have friendly competition, because that's good too.
Mm, right.
And that keeps us afloat.
That's perfect. And Megan, when in your role, how did you decide to get involved with the business? How has the dynamics been working with it amongst each other?
Yeah, it's been
Has
fun.
it been good? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, poor Megan. She's a nurse.
I'm a nurse. I'm
She's
registered
educated,
nurse.
That's
yes.
great.
And she was working at the pediatric intensive care unit at Tallahassee Memorial Hospital. A great nurse.
Mm.
And I really hope someday she'll return to nursing, because she has a gift. I could not be a nurse, but she is brilliant at that. She has 2 young little babies, and a
Congratulations.
toddler and a baby. And so when I moved the cake shop over here, what is it, 4 years ago? Everything really turned upside down. It was a really big challenge, and Megan really stepped in because she saw that I was working 7 days a week, 16-hour days, and I was in over my head.
Mhm.
And so she really saved me. She
Mhm.
really stepped in and said, I'm helping Mom, and that's all there is to it.
Mhm.
Tim helped immensely.
You had a team.
We had a huge team, and her
I think that
husband
was the biggest thing.
is another engineer, and he has his master's in business, and so he also brought a lot of his own
IT,
brilliance.
the camera systems, the alarms, the MBA side of it, which you
And
guys
the cash
appreciate-
register,
appreciate.
all the numbers, everything that requires a lot of technology just got pushed onto Brian.
Mm.
Because when we came over here, it changed everything.
Mm.
At the old location on John Knox, I was perceived as this woman baked cakes in this little house, and that's all she had. That's what she did. And the perception was she was just baking a small amount of cakes. No one really had any idea the volume of work that we did. But when I came over here at this location, what happened was everyone perceived you as a commercial bakery. The illusion that this woman just baked a few cakes in the kitchen was gone, and it vanished in a day. And so you're on a main highway, and now instead of having 1 or 2 cakes, people want hundreds. People don't want a dozen cookies, they want hundreds and thousands. So the whole perception changed in a day. So my whole life changed in a day, just turned upside down. And I have the same employees that I had over there. Steve and I, the head pastry chef, Steve Newman, has been with me for 21 years. A son,
Son, 10.
Elaine,
A good core staff.
really
Never
everyone
have.
that was with me at the store has stayed with me for years. None of us have gone. So we just had to have more front help.
That's great. And now, looking forward, is there any, are you all comfortable with where things are at now? Are you thinking expansion in the future? What does the future look like for the cake shop?
Well, we always grow. We just started the food truck. So Tim is out downtown on campus, Southwood. He takes the cupcakes and baked goods around town. So that has been a big change this last year. So do we want another store? Is that your question?
Yes, yeah.
Right now, I'm really satisfied with.
Right, yeah.
I'm not thinking about breaking down another wall or starting another one right now.
Yes.
But we always in a chain. What's next? What's our next phase? We're always looking forward. We have our mailings that is important to accomplish. We have a lot of challenges right now.
And
A lot of goals that we have to meet right now.
And how does, when you go about, you talk about change and stuff, and changing your products and stuff, what are products are most consistent for sales and stuff? And then also, how do you go about selecting the right products to sell?
We do a lot of research on the internet because food comes in style just like clothes,
There's
just like your
trends.
hair, just like glasses, everything. Food comes in style, just the same.
Cupcakes are big right now. It's the trend. But in the north, things like pies and whoopie pies and that sort of thing are becoming very trendy.
They're becoming in
But I
vogue.
think what the cake shop has is its staple is cake. Everybody needs cake. Weddings, first birthdays, anniversaries, birthday parties.
Those special occasions, you want to have a special cake.
It's
you're-
just it's America. You cut
Yeah.
cake, you blow out candles, you have your wedding. I mean, that stuff doesn't change. And so I think what we appreciate is that other people out there, the public, Tallahassee, our community wants that. So that's what we provide. And then the chefs have fun doing other things like trending. We do lots of cupcakes. We have about 21 different flavors. We do Elaine's Magnificent on her cheesecakes and that sort of thing, Claire's and cream puffs. And then we've got other chefs that do wonderful cookies. And, there's just things that have grown over the years. Like Linda mentioned, I mean, at the old store, we didn't do what we do now.
Yeah.
Now we make
I couldn't sell a cupcake 20 years ago, not one.
No, she'd make
No one-
one tin and they would sit
I
and go
was-
stale. One tin has 6 cupcakes.
Yes.
She'd
And
make
you didn't sell
one tin and she'd try to put it out and people would be like, no, we're just going to get
I
our
want
cake.
Wow.
And then we
And
dump
now
them.
you can't keep them.
No.
I couldn't sell muffins when I started. And then they became
Now
the
breakfast
rage.
is big.
Yes. Yeah, and then now it's a lot
Now
of
breakfast like you,
Danish.
coffee.
Right.
And
and it's a place to go. People want to meet and sit and chat with their friends and have their laptop and study. The coffee shops are really popular. A place to go with your laptop. The young generation. So we also bake seasonally. Like in the spring, you have lemon. You have orange, you have all the seasonal things. You want to have lemon meringue pie, you want to have everything lemon. In the fall, you don't want lemon, you want pumpkin. You want pumpkin cheesecake,
Spice.
pumpkin cookies, and then at Christmas we'll have mint and eggnog.
Right.
You have the seasonal changes, so.
That's great. Well, I'm very grateful for the service that you all have provided for the community, and I know you all have stood the test of time, and I'm very grateful for your all service, so thank you again.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you very
yes,
much.
enjoy the rest of your day.
Okay.